Hey guys, welcome back to First Chapter Fridays. Today we're going to be reading a book called The Glass Castle, written by Jeannette. This is a memoir, and just to tell you a little bit about the book before we start reading, this is a true story written by the author about her kind of unconventional childhood. Her dad is an alcoholic, but a brilliant man and totally different when he is sober. Her mom is kind of a quirky woman who really struggled with motherhood and didn't really understand how to be a mother. So that is kind of the basis of this story. The children were kind of put in a position where they really relied on each other and took care of one another. So yeah, let's get started. I'm excited about this. Okay. The Glass Castle. Chapter 1, A Woman on the Street. I was sitting in a taxi wondering if I'd overdressed for the evening when I looked out the window and saw my mom rooting through a dumpster. It was just after dark. A blustery March wind whipped the steam coming out of the manholes, and people hurried along the sidewalks with their collars turned up. I was stuck in traffic 2 blocks from a party where I was headed. Mom stood 15 feet away. She had tied rags around her shoulders to keep out the spring chill and was picking through the trash while her dog, a black and white terrier mix, played at her feet. Mom's gestures were all familiar. The way she tilted her head and thrust out her lower lip when she was studying items of potential value that she had hoisted out of the dumpster. The way her eyes widened with a childish glee when she found something she liked. Her long hair was streaked with gray, tangled and matted, and her eyes sunk deep into their sockets, but she still reminded me of the mom she'd been when I was a kid. Swan diving off cliffs and painting in the desert and reading Shakespeare aloud. Her cheekbones were still high and strong, but the skin was parched and ruddy from all those winters and summers exposed to the elements. To the people walking by, she probably looked like any of the thousands of homeless people in New York City. It had been months since I had laid eyes on my mom. And when she looked up, I was overcome with panic that she'd seen me and call out my name, and that someone on the way to the same party would spot us together, and Mom would introduce herself and my secret would be out. I slid down in the seat and asked the driver to turn around and take me home to Park Avenue. The taxi pulled up in front of my building, and the doorman held the door for me, and the elevator man took me up to my floor. My husband was working late, as he did on most nights, and the apartment was silent except for the click of my heels on the polished wood floor. I was still rattled from seeing my mom. The unexpectedness of coming across her. The sight of her rooting happily through the dumpster. I put on some music, hoping it would settle me down. I looked around the room. There were the turn-of-the-century bronze and silver vases and the old books with worn leather spines I collected at flea markets. There were the Georgian maps I had framed and the Persian rugs and the overstuffed leather armchair I liked to sink in at the end of the day. I tried to make a home for myself here, tried to turn the apartment into a sort of place where the person I wanted to be would live. I would never enjoy the room without worrying about my mom and dad huddled on the sidewalk grate somewhere. I fretted about them, but I was embarrassed by them too, and ashamed of myself for wearing pearls and living on Park Avenue while my parents were busy keeping warm and finding something to eat. What could I do? I tried to help them countless times, but Dad would insist that he didn't need anything, and Mom would ask for something silly like perfume or a membership to a health club. They said the way they were living was what they wanted. After ducking down in the taxi so my mom wouldn't see me, I hated myself, hated my antiques, my clothes, and my apartment. I had to do something, so I called a friend of Mom's and left a message. It was our system of staying in touch. It always took Mom a few days to get back to me, but when I heard from her, she sounded, as always, cheerful and casual as though we just had lunch the day before. I told her I wanted to see her and suggested she drop by the apartment, but she wanted to go to a restaurant. She loved eating out, so we agreed to meet for lunch at her favorite Chinese restaurant. Mom was sitting at a booth, studying the menu when I arrived. She'd made an effort to fix herself up. She wore a bulky gray sweater with only a few light stains and black leather men's shoes. She'd washed her face, but her neck and temples were still dark with grime. She waved enthusiastically when she saw me. "It's my baby girl," she called out. I kissed her cheek. Mom had dumped all the plastic packets of soy sauce and duck sauce and hot and spicy mustard from the table into her purse. Now she emptied a wooden bowl of dried noodles into it as well. "A little snack for later on," she explained. We ordered. Mom chose the seafood delight. "You know how I love my seafood," she said. She started talking about Picasso. She'd seen a retrospective of his work and decided how hugely overrated he was. All the Cubist stuff was gimmicky as far as she was concerned. He hadn't really done anything worthwhile after his rose period. "I'm worried about you," I said. "Tell me what I can do to help." Her smile faded. "What makes you think I need your help?" "I'm not rich," I said, "but I have money. Tell me what it is you need." She thought for a moment. "I could use an electrolysis treatment." "Be serious." "I am serious. If a woman looks good, she feels good." "Come on, Mom." I felt my shoulders tightening up, the way they invariably do during these conversations. "I'm talking about something that could help you change your life, make it better." "You want to help me change my life?" Mom asked. "I'm fine. You're the one who needs help. Your values are all confused." "Mom, I saw you picking through the trash in East Village a few days ago." "Well, people in this country are too wasteful. It's my way of recycling." She took a bite of her seafood delight. "Why didn't you say hello?" "I was too ashamed, Mom. I hid." Mom pointed her chopsticks at me. "You see?" she said. "Right there. That's exactly what I'm talking about. You're too easily embarrassed. Your father and I are who we are. Accept it." "And what am I supposed to tell people about my parents?" "Just tell the truth," Mom said. "It's simple enough." So that is the end of chapter 1. And again, hope you guys enjoy this. This will be added to my reading list personally. This is called The Glass Castle. And if you are interested, come find me in the library. Thanks.